Today, DJ joins us at the table and discusses his battle with drug addiction and how it almost cost him his life. It's a story that everyone needs to hear.
So I want to know what influenced you to do drugs?
Freedom. I know that sounds weird, but the ability, I wanted to get away from the life I was living, the place I was staying, the people I was around, that kind of stuff. The school I was going to, the rules and the structure that I had. So I was trying to get away from that. And that was just the pure path to getting away from all that. That was the avenue. Drugs led me to the kind of people that led me to the kind of life that would sustain me being able to leave.
So talk to us a little bit about your upbringing. Like, what did you go through in life?
Father left when I was 3. Mother worked hard a little bit of assistance. She got married, remarried to my stepfather. Both of them worked 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. My stepfather worked on Saturdays and Sundays all my life. So I really had no parents at the house. It was kind of me and my sister.
So y'all was just left alone?
Just kicking it,
95% of the time.
We had to get our, from 10 years old, I'm taking the bus home to school, like the metro. I was in Arlington. I was taking a metro, from the bus stop to where I was living.
At 6 years old?
At 10 years old.
Oh, at
10 years old, 11, with my sister and a friend, but we would all take the same, and we was, let ourselves in, cook our own food.
Wow. Did that kind of scare you somewhat? Like, I'm 10 and I'm cooking my own stuff, I'm taking myself to school. Did you feel deep down inside more so afraid or alone?
Resentful.
Okay.
More resentful. More like I knew I wasn't supposed to have to be doing all this. And again, I wanted to be a kid. I didn't want to have responsibility thrust upon me at 10 and at 12 and at 14. So again, it was just, that's what led me to those avenues, was breaking away from that.
And that's a big script. That's a big responsibility. Take yourself to school. Not at 10 years old, we do take ourselves to school. We catch the bus, but you saying you took the metro.
Yeah.
And then you had to also assist your sister with going to school as well on the metro.
Absolutely.
How did your parents feel about as this was going on?
At that time, it was single mother status, and we were living with my grandparents, but my grandparents one was in a wheelchair, the other one was not far from it. So we were there more helping him, or she was They were the support team for her, but she was really taking care of them. So any extra time she had went into them. Either she didn't like the situation much, but we had to make do with what it was. She didn't have any real help.
Okay, so it sounds to me like she had to divide her time. She's a single mother, trying to care for 2 kids. Then you also have her parents who have restrictions as well.
Right, he had brain cancer. She was caring for him. They had an in-house hospice, but then they quit because he was getting angry all the time from his disease. And then so she was discombobulating from that, getting laid off from here and then getting a new job because the time she's taking off for that. So that was just that's why we was left to ourselves.
Okay. So it sounds like the structure was just
broken down all the time.
How old were you when you first started drugs?
When I first started any drug?
Yeah, any drug.
Any drug, 12.
12.
When I first started smoking, it was the first time I ever smoked weed.
Okay.
When I was 12.
How did it make you feel to be a 12-year-old kid, just doing your thing, smoking weed?
Cool, really. I was cool. I hung out in the neighborhood where my older brother was in there. And so all the kids were about 2-3 years older than me. And they were all the cool ones doing all the good stuff. And so that was just what it was. It was like, all right, I want to play ball. Okay. Hang out with these cats, I'm playing ball. These cats smoke weed, so now I'm smoking weed. So it made me feel like, just like I was a part of something.
But at 12, when you say you started smoking weed at 12, obviously that introduces and opens the doors to other drugs.
Right.
So how long was it before you started and you moved on to something else?
Not long.
Would you say 13?
I'd say probably about 2 years. I'd say 14 was the first time I ever really hit my hard drug, my first hard drug.
What was your first hard drug?
Coke.
How did that affect you?
Physically or mentally?
Oh, physically and mentally, and emotionally.
All the way. I was suffering myself from, I believe, I still don't know for sure, but I believe I was suffering from ADHD, on the onset of that, and I think I didn't understand it, so the Coke was really tearing me to pieces because it was sending me in all kinds of ways.
Did you feel it tearing you to pieces, or did you like feel like I got that high, like yeah, you know, it feels good. I'm trying to do it again. I want to just.
That's in hindsight. In the moment, oh no, I was gassed up. It's where I wanted to be. That was right. It felt right. It was right.
So you didn't care about nothing else.
There was nothing to care about. That was what it was. Yeah, there was.
When did you realize you had an addiction though?
I was 17 when I realized I had an addiction.
Did you have like a moment to yourself where you was like, wow, like I'm going down the wrong path?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was in a bathroom at a party. I was at a party and I'm just we're doing the most. I mean, we're taking E. I just dropped a bunch of E pills. I just snorted a 20 a K. I mean, I'm literally about to take a couple vial drops of acid, and literally, I just put 2 vials of acid drops on my tongue, and that started to set in. And then all of a sudden, I go in the bathroom, and I just can't get myself together. I'm all everywhere. I can't. The mirror don't look right. I don't look right. Stuff ain't looking right. My head starts spinning around, and right then I realized, what am I doing? I'm putting. That's when I felt like I was going to crash and burn that night.
So you were afraid in that
moment?
Oh
yeah, I went to detox that night. I went to a hospital that night. I called my mom. I thought I was going to die. I said, come get me. I don't even know what party I'm at. Sent my location. You know what I mean?
And after that, you felt like you blanked out?
I didn't blank out, like blacked out. I mean, other than the K-hole I was already in. I mean, she said I sounded retarded on the phone. She was like, she could barely understand me, but she came and got me, took me to a hotel because I didn't want to go to the hospital because I was afraid of going to jail. Okay. You know what I mean? So she took me to a detox center, and then I stayed there for 2 weeks.
Okay. So when you left detox, what happened next?
When I left detox, honestly, jumped right back in.
But you were trying to get help, so why was it so easy for you?
Well, I was trying to stay alive. I wasn't trying to get help yet. I hadn't hit that mode where I was really trying to get help. I knew I was messed up, and I knew I wasn't right. But I just wanted, I still was I was still tricking myself into thinking I could get right and still do what I wanted to do at the same time. So I was just trying to figure that out. I really wasn't ready to stop. I knew I was messing up.
You're 17, go to detox for 2 weeks, you get out, you go right back to it. At that point, are you still doing coke and weed and e-pills?
Everything. I'm at opium. I mean, I'm just ripping and running. I mean, it gets heavy about a year.
Why did you go from drug to drug? Was the first high not enough? Like, was the high from the weed not enough? Then you went to coke, that wasn't enough and you did e-pills? Or were you looking for a certain type of high, or were you just like, I just want to get as high as I can, just higher and higher and higher?
I push things to the limit. I'm not necessarily an adrenaline junkie, just I'm a limit pusher. You know, I'm a gambler, real gambler, true nature gambler. So I like playing with limits. First time I do stuff, I take, what everybody else is taking. I take a little bit more because I was always, physically able to. So I was able to, sometimes it was about pushing the limits to see how high I could get, to see how strong I could be, to see how fast I could become. Sometimes that was the high of that, just, chasing that high, to see how bad I could be. And then sometimes it was just a scene change. You know what I mean? Sometimes it was just as simple. The first time I ever did heroin was just as simple. I was doing an e-pill at a club in DC at Nations, and then I went to an after party. And on my way to the after party, some girl jumped in the car and needed a lift to the same after party. Next thing I know, she didn't even ask no questions. She just grabs my arm, sticks a needle in it. Bam. You know what I mean? So it was like change of scene. Next thing I know, I was like, oh shit. Because at the end of the day, once I had about 3 drugs in, you don't care what drug it is. After about 3 drugs in, it's just about what's available at that point.
But the people around you, it sounds to me like they were enabling you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Did you have anybody in your circle that was like, hold on, man, like you going too far with it? Like maybe we...
No, I hung out in circles that was just like, we hung pretty thick, not no gang stuff. I wasn't involved in any gang stuff, but we rolled thick as brothers, as family, and it was like 3 or 4, 5 of us, but all of us were all spun out. We was just enabling each other, making it worse for each other.
So it was kind of like the blind leading the blind.
It was the blind leading the blind, absolutely.
Okay. Did you ever feel sorry for yourself during this time?
Yeah. Back then, yeah, absolutely. All the day. I was victim one. I was victim one. Everything I did was because. I don't know what followed.
So you never owned up to it. You was always looking for, well, I'm doing this because I'm going through this.
Right. It was right. It was always something like I alluded to a second ago, but that was more of an explanation. But it was always an excuse. Parents ain't home. That's their fault. They ain't raised me right. Their fault. You know what I mean? The man keeps trying to lock me up. His fault. I'm not bothering nobody. You know what I mean? I'm just doing me. So everybody's after me. Everybody's out to get me. So of course that helped me to perpetuate further into that, on those levels.
But when did you get to that breaking point where you was like, I gotta just stop making excuses?
Prison.
Okay, so talk to us about prison. When did you go to prison and why did you go to prison?
19, I've got like 23 felonies. I mean, I've been to prison like 3 times, but it was like 6 months and then like a year and 2 months. And they were like little stints just from little bull stuff. And then I'd get out. They were basically long jail bids. But my prison stint was 15 years. And that came at the third punch. And I was taking money from Virginia Heartland Bank basically to support all my drug habit. You know what I mean? I mean, I was, going from DC pretty much to Richmond all along Route 1, going in, pretending to be someone else to get money for my drugs. And I went to prison for that.
Identity fraud kind of.
Yes, identity fraud, absolutely. And that was the main bulk of that 15 was for that. And I went to prison and that's when it got really, serious.
So when you went to prison, you did 15 years in prison. Was that, in that moment, did you go like, damn, I'm here? There's nothing else I can do?
That came later. That came later. At first I was mad, I was angry, and of course I'm drug addict out. Like, so of course I'm manic and I'm all over the place, mentally and physically. So I hated everything and everything that was perpetuating me to do the drugs in the first place was just becoming worse. But now I don't have the drugs until.
So you was going through withdrawals.
Right, big time withdrawals until, again, you get stuff in there too. And but it's expensive and, there's other things. And,
hard to get.
Anyway, yeah. So it was just a lot of, hoop jumping and money and, fighting and the things that come with it in prison. Like, number one, they don't care if you're all the way legit. Someone's trying to rob you or, someone's trying, it is what it is. There's a lot of problems that come with it. So again, it's bad enough on the street. In jail, it's even worse. So it's like you have to make decisions.
Right. And you always got to look over your shoulder.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Whether you're doing it, buying it, selling it.
So when did you get out of prison?
About 6 years ago.
6 years ago. Ever since you gotten out of prison, have you been clean? Did you go back to the drugs?
When I got out of prison, I smoked marijuana.
Okay.
I have smoked marijuana. I still smoke marijuana.
Okay. Do you ever see yourself
another story for that necessarily, because I don't believe that as a drug, but that's my philosophy.
Yeah, okay.
But again, not everybody has that philosophy. But as far as drugs go, no, I've given up drugs all the way across the board.
Okay, alcohol, do you?
I don't even, I drink, I've never, even during my manic, like that's the one thing I've never had an addictive nature. I had an alcoholic father, alcoholic mother, and another alcoholic stepfather. I hate alcohol.
So for you, it was just like,
but I'm also not like sometimes like I might drink twice a year. I might drink none for 3 years. I might drink 6 times in a year.
I mean that's
I'm one of those people. That's what I'm saying. I might go 5 years without drinking. It depends on if the city. Yeah, I never go looking for it though, because it doesn't,
do anything.
I don't like drinking that. But yeah, but I might have a beer while I'm playing pool if I'm out with a social group. But
so in the past 6 years since you've been out of prison, what has helped you stay away from the drugs? Because I mean, it has to be a struggle. I mean,
honestly, responsibility.
Okay.
Being thrust with. I mean, I thrust myself with it. I mean, to the point where prison became real. Once 15 years became real at 20, all of a sudden, half your life, your adult life is chunked out. It was a wrap. So it was like, all right, for real, this is no years anymore. This is not months. This is serious. And it didn't look like I was getting out. Once I turned that leaf about halfway through my 15, I realized that I started educating myself, started reading, got away from all the fighting and everything else and all the bull stuff. And tried to separate myself, started getting, like I said, educating myself. That's when I realized, I need to stay out of here. So when I got out, I needed more than a job. I needed a career. So I went and got my CDL, and that took up a lot of time. Now, again, at that time I was still like, oh man, all I thought about for 15 years was, oh man, wait till I do that again, wait till I do that again. And now it's starting to get hard because I'm in these circles. I'm at the same place with the same friends in the same area, so nothing's changing, nothing's gonna change. So I had to remove myself there. Another responsibility. I took on a wife and 4 kids from another man, took them as my own. And raising him as my own because he's not exactly there like he should be. And more responsibility. And then finally
and I'm sure you took on that responsibility and you want to be in the best shape that you can be to lead by example so that they won't go down that road.
And that's exactly what it is. At the end of the day, it was like every time I needed to do something, it was just, and that's the really ones that did it, more my family. But I mean, it was everything. It was like I worked hard. For the first time I worked hard for something, got a gig, got a job, a career, 65,
and that feels good when you can say,
now I'm doing something.
I did this, I accomplished this.
I'm over here, I'm 20 years old, I'm taking other people's money because I'm too lazy to go work for it. Now I'm over here busting my hump, getting it, it feels a little better. I look in the mirror, what kind of dad do you want to be? What kind of brother do you want to be? What kind of of son do you want to be? And that keeps me off the drugs, you know what I mean? Responsibility, at least for me, that's what works for me.
I think it's safe to say that prison, of course we know it's a bad thing. Nobody wants to go to prison. But it sounds to me like it saved your life.
It did.
Because had it
Absolutely
not
did.
been for prison, you could have been somewhere strung out, or you could have been worse. You could have been dead.
My first 6.5 years, every foul word, everybody was everything. But half of the other, like I said, after about 6 years through, I realized that, it's what I needed. It was a blessing. It was a blessing. Prison saved my life, for sure.
So now that you're clean.
I hate to say it like that because I don't go to prison.
Now that you're clean, what do you believe is the first step to recovery? Because there's a lot of people out here, man, and like they fighting that battle like every day, and it's like
I got a lot of them now, and it's hard. It's hard to counsel people on that one because it's such a personal demon. Such a personal demon, so it's hard. Everybody's different. Everybody has different things, but
is it something that lives in your head where it's like it's every day? It's like you got the good versus the evil. You got the good part of you saying like I'm gonna do right, I'm gonna be right, but then you got that bad seed in your head.
Purpose,
it's like
purpose and choice. That's the 2 words. That's my favorite 2 words. Understanding your purpose. Understanding understanding what your purpose is. I mean, in life, in your day, and just in you, just with you, your daily. You know what I mean? It's when I wake up, I have a purpose. I'm waking up for something. What am I waking up for? And then trying to figure that out. And it usually, falls into place and falls in line if you keep minded. And choice. Reminding myself that everything is a choice. I choose to be happy. I choose to do that drug. I choose not to do that drug. I choose to be angry at this guy. You know what I mean? I don't have to be angry at that guy. I choose my life. Once I realized that, that's when everything started.
Because you are in control of yourself.
Right. It's the only thing I can control to a degree.
Exactly. Because you've been through a lot, man. This actually just motivated me to be like, to just try my best to stay on the right path and do the right things. And none of us are perfect. So let me say that first and foremost, none of us are perfect.
Right.
But when you battling your demons and you in that position where you got it in front of you or it's around you, at this point, place in your time, if you were in that position, would it be easy for you to get up and walk away, or would that temptation still be there?
Now, with every day it gets easier. It really does. It gets easier with every month that goes by, with every year that goes by, it gets easier, especially when the solid pieces that you set in your life kind of work out, like a family or like a career or an event or creative, whatever, your hobbies or your likes or whatever. Once your set pieces really start to filter out, it becomes real easy because your focus becomes real easy. You know what I mean? It's easy because I've had, in the beginning, it wasn't. Like I said, I was working restaurants and I was in that life, back in the kitchens where the drugs are and back in that stuff. And even though I was trying to, my homeboys would come out here.
You said restaurants.
Yeah.
People really bring drugs inside of the restaurants, like in the kitchen, they hide them and stuff like that? Or?
Oh, absolutely. They're doing them. They're hiding them. Restaurant life, if you're a kitchen manager, general managers, kitchen staff, pretty much everything behind the curtains back there. Yeah, they're making your food, but when there's nothing to make or if they're running out back for a break, it's a drug scene. It's not even, it's common in the restaurant world.
Oh, I didn't know that. You just actually educated me, so I appreciate that. Yeah. What advice would you give to your younger self?
So many things. But advice to my younger self?
Yeah.
Pay attention. Pay attention. Perception. Life is perception. You know what I mean? If you look around and pay attention, you can see mistakes before you make them. You can see the right thing. Right happens whether you like it or not. Wrong happens whether you like it or not. Follow what's right. Pay attention. It'll lead you where you need to go. But sometimes,
I agree with you, but sometimes I feel like we got to make mistakes in order to grow, in order to become a better person.
We do, but guided mistakes. It's like you can do right the wrong way. You can do wrong the right way. You know what I mean? I feel like, it depends on the etiquette of the situation. You know what I mean? And if you pay attention to that, I feel like you can still make the mistake, but come out of it okay. Whereas if you're not paying attention, you make the mistake, you know what I mean? You might have did some real detriment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like guarded mistakes. It's like if you're paying attention and you're really trying to be your best you and you're valuing yourself right, then your mistakes are going to be, guided, gauged. They're not going to be, detrimental to life. Whereas if you ain't paying attention, you just don't care and you just throwing yourself out there with no red lines, then you stand to get chopped down.
And the first time you make a mistake, you can say it's a mistake.
Yeah,
second
right,
time,
right. Then it's on you, right? Fool me once.
Right, okay.
But second one's on me every time.
Have you forgiven yourself for doing drugs?
For doing drugs?
Yeah. Or just...
That's the best question.
Because every day I know it's a struggle, and every day I know you fighting that good fight, but...
I say I do. I tell my kids I do. I talk to them about forgiveness and how, how forgiveness is about you, not the other person even. It's about you releasing that from yourself and being able to be okay.
Rid of that toxic.
So I feel like I have, but there's some times and some things sometimes that pull me back. Like I don't know if I'm quite ready to let myself off the hook all the way. Because I've also had drugs lead me to do some real horrible stuff. You know what I mean? Things that, you can only atone so much. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, what can you do?
So you got good days and bad days.
Right.
Okay. What advice would you give to anybody that's battling a drug addiction? Because you got, you got people out here, they don't know where to go to get help. They don't know what the first step is.
It's the only right thing, and it's the one thing that don't nobody want to hear. And the truth is cut your circle. Cut your circle and stick to your support team, the true ones. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody has the same situation. You got bad moms, bad dads, and bad sisters, bad brothers, but not for the most part. 98% of the time, you have a mama that loves you. You have a daddy that's going to talk good stuff to you. You have a sister that care about you. Stick to those people. Get away from the scrub you dealing with. I know little Timmy and you've been breaking bread since you was 3 and you played ball together when you was 6 and y'all had the same first girlfriend when you was 12 and
You get to a point
but now he's stuffing powder in your face and now your life's going down.
And that's not what a true friend is.
Yeah, right,
so
exactly. So the people you think are slick ain't slick. The people you think care for you don't, get away from them. Cut your circle.
I have a saying in life that pay attention to things that you normally wouldn't pay attention to. Because it's like those small, minor things that we might that apply over our head. It's like, you'd be like, wait a minute, you got away with that. Then now it's like you taking steps, you're moving on to something bigger and something bigger. And before you know it, it's like...
And the next time's always easier. The first time you do something, you're a little bit afraid, you're timid, you don't know nothing about it, you're the first time, I know what that feels like, so that's gotta be something like that, just on that level. So it's easier to take that plunge. It's easier to walk off that diving board on the next time around because you know what it's like to splash in the water. You know what I mean? You know what it feels like now. You ain't up there scared because that looks too high for me. I might belly flop. But yeah, no doubt.
So where would you say you are right now in your life? Like today, like how do you feel today? What is life like for you today?
I'm in a good place today. I mean, for the most part. I mean, I got, like I said, I got great family now. I got a different life. I got a career. I make good money. I'm able to support my family. I mean, I educated myself. I'm sharp. I'm away from all the bull stuff. I mean, you know what I mean? So yeah, all my kids are doing good in school. I'm really in a good place. Yeah, I'm in a pretty good place.
That's a great thing.
Now, I mean, but things are horrible until they're not. You know what I mean? It looks like a total mess until it's not. Even just 2 years ago, a mess, about to file bankruptcy, don't know what I'm gonna do. Really, in my car one night at 2 a.m, contemplating going to a 7-Eleven and doing what I know how to do to get, I'm just going through it and going crazy. And again, just going back to choice. And I had to get back to my sharp stuff. Yeah, and so that's really why focus is very important.
So do you have any goals future goals that you set out that you want to accomplish? Like what else do you want to do moving forward?
Moving forward, I'm actually in the middle right now. I'm about to flip my first house. I bought my first home 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
And I did some remodeling, just some skills I picked up in prison. Actually, some of them I didn't have them before going in. And I came out and now I know how to do stuff. And so I remodeled my home that I just bought. And again, I bought it for $130 and it's appraising right now for a little over $350. So the equity I'm getting, So now I'm about to go buy 2 houses in South Carolina, flip that, get into real estate is my plan right now. I'm also about to open a truck school. I got my instructor's license after I got my CDL. So now I want to open my own school, grab a couple trucks and start, because it's one of the number one, businesses. So, it's not bad.
Man, I think you should write a book.
That's what I said, really. I've been thinking about that too. I'm just lazy. I'm trying to get my daughter, because she's real good with that. And I figure, she can take dictations. I don't know too much about that, but I thought about writing a book.
I'll tell you, it's not as hard as you might think. Take on your phone. We got like the voice recorders in our phone. Record yourself like if you feel like it's something important that you don't want to forget.
I've already started doing that.
Okay,
because I drive a truck. Sometimes I'm in there for 14 hours at a clip, just in a truck driving boom and boom all the way back.
Okay.
I just started that though. I had the idea a few weeks ago, so I just started doing that where when I come up with those, oh my God, I'm by myself and I have the greatest idea. I just solved science and I need to record it. Yeah.
And you'll be amazed. Like you'll look back like 2 months, maybe even a year later and be like, wait a minute, I had this idea and I remember I stored it here. So my phone's somewhere. So it definitely helps.
That'll help. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's always great, man, to see people who've made it out, who are doing better for themselves and just trying to inspire people. And none of us are perfect, but your story, the fact that you've been, through so much turmoil and you made it out alive. Because remember, when you do drugs, you know what I'm saying? So I think the fact that you were open enough and honest enough to talk about what you've been through could inspire somebody else who's going through the very same thing.
I hope so, because I do know it's painful and it's hurtful and it's tough. Yeah. And it ain't worth it.
But the one thing you said that I'm gonna walk away with is you can't make excuses. We always look for an excuse. I'm going through this. My girlfriend did that. My mama did that. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes we gotta look at ourselves and be like, what did I do?
All right.
What can I do to make the situation better? So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the time, man, to do this.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for having me.
Are you on social media?
I'm just I'm standoffish. Me and social media, we have an awkward relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, we have an awkward. I just now today have an Instagram account with nothing on it because I needed it for something else. So, and I just did Facebook about a year ago. Just got my first Facebook account, but I don't post nothing or look on it. I just connected to my Google stuff. I'm not real good. Yeah, I'm not.
And don't feel bad. Social media, it's a good and it's a bad thing. It's like it's a love-hate relationship.
I'm actually starting to really fall in love with the reason, like the platform. I like that. I like how you can get out there. I like how you can get up now because before then, I didn't have that. I didn't know that. So I do like all those social media stuff like that. So able to really put certain things out there when you want to. But, again, I just all the pirating and everything else. I'm afraid to, I don't know. I know what I used to do. Again, I just went to prison for identity fraud. I know how easy it is. You know what I mean?
Especially
again, I'm turning around living that, I'm not living that life, but I also know how easy it is for the other people. So I try not to,
Dab into that too much.
I want to make it too easy for them.
So what do you have coming up? I know you said you flipping houses. You thinking about writing that book?
Right now, actually, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but right now, actually, I just started getting back into fighting. I used to do some cage fights, some MMA back before I went in, and just recently, I just got back into jiu-jitsu and I started doing that.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I don't know too much.
I went into, my son was doing warrior martial arts at the Warrior Academy. And I started doing it just as an exercise. Like I lost 108 pounds. I used to weigh like 300 and some change. Yeah.
So that by itself helped you lose?
That right there. I started doing well. What it was is I stopped drinking sodas because they were just getting me. And I stopped drinking sodas and went to teas. And even though it ain't water, that made a shift. I lost like 25. Okay. Next thing I know, I started getting in the gym again, working out, doing jiu-jitsu, all at the same time. Everything hit right then. And the jiu-jitsu really helped me lose the weight though. Then it came off. You know what I mean? Because I'm putting in 2 hours at the mat, rolling around, toughing it out.
Did you change your diet too as far as
absolutely, absolutely. Went to a low carb, no sugar.
Okay.
Very low sugar. I have a Jolly Rancher problem. But other than that, no sugar.
Yeah, that's the opposite for me. I love junk food.
I know that's right. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to gain a little bit of weight.
But it was fun.
Yeah. So that's what you're working on now.
That's what I'm working on now. I'm really I got 35 to 45 more pounds to go, depending on the weight class I want to fight in. Because I'm 40, I have a very short shelf life. I can't get back out there and do pro. I already missed my opportunity for that.
40 is still young though.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not too bad, but I'm saying I can't really go pro. So the best I'm going to get is a few paid amateur fights. I've already been in the circuit a little bit, but I haven't been in there in a while. So if I get in shape and get back out there, I got a decent name already. Okay. So I should be able to, make a little bit of money. I know I'm not going to make a super career. This one's more of I love it.
Okay.
I haven't been good at much. I'm great at that. I want to do it legit. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I mean to win,
it sounds fun and painful at the same time. So
it is, but man, I feel like, I got that, my homeboys got a slogan, man. If you want, if you want what you want, you got to pay that rent. You know what I mean? So it's true, like, and I do. I just want to be good at one thing. Yeah, I want my family, I want my kids, I want my sons to see me be great at one thing. I'm a decent truck driver. I'm a all right ball player. You know what I mean?
Man, you're doing
I'm a pretty good couch potato. But man, I'm an excellent, I'm a beast. I get it in on that mat, man. So that's what I want to do once.
Always be good to yourself, though.
Absolutely.
I mean, like I said, you've made it through like the fire. You came out like shining. So I just want to say I'm proud of you.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And again, thanks for taking the time out to just educate us on what it's like to do drugs and battle that addiction. Because a lot of people don't know, like myself, I don't understand. But
Absolutely.
from listening to you, it's like I have an understanding of, how easy it is to get sucked into that life. So thanks again.
No doubt. Absolutely. Thank you.
For giving us that knowledge that we need.
Absolutely.